And I'm starting the recording. Yep, it should have started. Okay, great. And people are still coming in. First on our agenda, I'd like to introduce Sarah Green. She's our interim superintendent. Sarah, do you want to say anything?
I'll just start by saying I appreciate everyone joining us this morning and for all of the challenges that we're facing and holding space for us, knowing that our financial picture and the needs and expectations for reopening school for some of us are presenting new challenges that we're scrambling to try and pull together. And we're doing our best to work behind the scenes to be supportive and helpful, and hope to have updates that may in turn help to make things a little bit smoother. We are going to try our best not to make things worse, as the case may be. And it's a beautiful day, and sometimes it's hard to see past what's right in front of us to look at the bigger picture. And we acknowledge all that you all are experiencing, and we're here to help either keep the boats floating in the river, and certainly try to avoid all of the rapids and the rocks along the way as much as we can. But again, appreciate all of the efforts. This is a pretty big hill that everybody's climbing, and we want to be there to help you with that.
Yes, and I like to share, and I'm not saying our previous superintendents were not supportive, but like Sarah Green has been very supportive of all of our programs, not just LTCT, but also JNIP-YSEP. And then she has expressed an interest to hopefully once COVID has, has died down, to visit some of our sites and to also visit, participate in an LTCT graduation. And I suggested, oh, PPS has good graduations that I would recommend. So, yeah, so yes, I'm very happy and grateful for Sarah's advocacy and attention to our programs. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Sarah? Because she might have to leave because she has other pressing.
I'm going to stay for the whole meeting, Sam.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'll be here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sounds good. Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, so does anyone have any questions for Sarah? And everyone, you have the ability to unmute yourself if you want to speak. Okay, so okay, okay, so okay, I guess not. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat now. Okay, somebody asked. Yeah, so Amy said she's very grateful that Sarah's attending the OAESD meetings too. Yep. Yep, great. Okay, so next, our fiscal allocations for 21, 22, and ESSER funds. And because every year we have new people and we have new fiscal people, this is the formula that, this is the spreadsheet, and this is how the allocations are calculated. And of course, like here, the site CDs, school districts. So, so here's the classrooms. This is, oh, and can everyone see the Excel spreadsheet? I hope so. Okay, so, yes. Okay, so here's the teacher cost, EA cost, and the formula is, the number of teachers times your classroom, EA times the number of classrooms, and here's your estimate. And how I arrive at the prorate is here. So from everyone's total is 25 million, their teacher and EA salary. And then our governor's recommended budget for general fund is 20 million, basically, and the state school fund is roughly 19.8 million. So it comes out to total 40 million. So I divide up that 40 million by 49 for the first year and 51 for the second year.
So yes,
and
but
then how we get at 79 is
I'm trying to figure out how to turn the volume down on this.
The total amount divided by our available funding, and that comes out to 79%. So at 79%, this is your allocation. And of course, Nobody wants to see a contract amount of $463,920.34. 434,148.83. Just like your fiscal people and my fiscal people, they go nuts when I do that. So I round it up and so forth, and then so that's how your allocations are divided. And of note, average. Well, I didn't do average teacher salary, but of note, the average classroom amount at 100% would be 278,000, or but at the allocated amount is roughly $219,000 per classroom that we are sending out. So this is an email I sent out the other month. And remember, this is based on the governor's recommended budget, not the co-chairs. And the amount may go up or down depending on the actions of the legislature and the governor. And I stated 4951. And here, this is how you can figure out our state school fund amount. Here on ODE's webpage, when you go to the state school fund webpage, sorry, I should have had this up. I had this up for Jada yesterday. You go to the district estimate for 21-22. You click here. And this is a huge, I would never recommend printing this attachment because there's 198 pages, because this is for every single school district in the state of Oregon. But the main for us is the first page. And here on LTCT, we get our, at hospitals is right here, $12.5 million straight off the top. So from the 4.4 billion, these other accounts are taken out, and then everyone else shares that money. Okay. I kind of went through that fast. Does anyone have any questions? Or how that amount is calculated?
Sam,
Hey,
can I
Sam.
ask, I know that you've probably explained this and prior to talking and probably in previous emails, but we're looking at figures right now that do not include the federal, the IDEA and Title I.
Ray, is that you, Ray?
Yes.
You're absolutely correct, Ray. Yes, and then here, it's because Title I and IDA, those funds, and then these are Oregon funds only, they come out later on.
Okay.
And I just received an email from US DOE, and hopefully you can all see it. Because what happens is, and this week, I got this like on March 4th, they're still looking at the Title I decounts that you all submitted. And then from there, so the next steps, once they have the Title I decounts finalized, then they will start calculating the Title I A and D amounts. So the first step was, remember in December and January, we asked for your counts and so forth. Then we validate, we make sure everything is correct. And then we send it to US DOE. Then US DOE collects all the data from all the 50 states and territories, and then they do like a data check. And then they send it to the states, hey, there's some anomalies, can you double check and so forth. So that's why it takes a little longer. So so that's the process it normally takes. That's why right now I can't begin to estimate IDA and Title I-D because USDOE hasn't given us our estimates yet for upcoming year. So that's why the email was only for Oregon funds. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. And also thank you for your patience, because I'm kind of redundant or repetitive with my questions, but you're always patient with me. I appreciate it.
No, and then Ray, no, it's because other people have those same questions,
Okay.
and believe it or not, I used to be a former teacher too, and then we like, if you're not patient, you shouldn't be a teacher. That's my thingy, So anyway, so that's why, and then for all of you too, this only happens like once a year or whatever, and LTCT is just something on some of the student services director's plate or your plate, Ray, I know. So that's why. So this is a time for all of you to ask questions. Yeah, and then I'm very transparent. Anyone else? Does anyone else have questions? Is it hopefully, yep, hopefully it's simple. And then, yep, and then here too, here is what I track too, like how the unspent IDA and Title 1D. So as you know, as people send in the invoices, and as of right now, I believe I'm caught up with all the people that send in invoices. So, and I know some people have not submitted the invoices for this year, and I think everyone's caught up for last year. So these are some of the unspent that we're looking at. And then I'm really concerned about the 619 unspent because, and it's very little, it's for the preschool kids. And then some of the IDA funds we can't carry over and so forth. So hopefully we can spend the 619 funds for those that have 619 funds. Okay. Okay. If no one else has any questions, next on our agenda item are the ESSER funds. We are still calculating and still developing our procedures and processes for the ESSER 2 funds. So as soon as we have clearer direction and an understanding, we'll probably schedule another, I guess, sorry, but like webinar to talk about the ESSER funds, because it's my understanding the way we're going to distribute ESSER 2 funds will be different from ESSER 1 funds. The ESSER 1 funds were very minimal and it went straight to the school districts and the ESCs, but the ESSER 2 funds the process might be a little different. So once we have figured those out, then we would set up another meeting and inform everybody on the processes. And of course with federal funds, there will be some reporting requirements. And if I'm pretty sure President Biden will sign the stimulus, so there might be ESSER 3 funds. So yeah, so as of right now, I don't have the estimates to give up. Yes, oh, he just signed it, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. I thought he was going to sign it tomorrow, but he just signed it today. Good. So
you are on it, Sam. You are right on it.
yeah, great. Yep. Okay, so any questions on that, the ESSER funds allocation?
Sam, this is Amy. I don't have much of a question, but more about just the reality that it's great that we're receiving all these additional funds, and there's a lot of, at least what I'm dealing with in my region, a lot of staff who are just, they won't be working in the summer, and they've made it clear that they need the time off in the summer. And so to the greatest extent that we could be flexible with weaving in those enhancement opportunities and that type of thing, just in recognizing that staff, they're going to be done and other programs. So it's challenging.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Yes, and then for those and also for everybody to, regardless of ESSER funds or whatnot, if you're able to stretch out our current LTCT funds to go into the summer months, that is totally applicable. For instance, like I know PPS, they have some our contract funds goes beyond for their 180 days, so they have summer programs. So that is totally applicable. You can also use the Title 1D funds for to educate students in the summer months and so forth, because they're supplemental. So we encourage, to use up all of our contracted funds, both Oregon and Title 1D funds for summer programs. And I know some of you do.
Sam, does that mean that they have to be spent by June 30th though? So it would only be for funds that we can use through then? Or are you saying we could get an extension on those funds through July and August if that's summer school programming timeline?
There's a way that our contractors have been doing it. And then where I wouldn't say prepay, but they've arranged their contractual arrangement with their teachers where the expenses are charged to our contracts before June 30th. So technically, yes, you could go through, and LBL also does that too. So there's ways of the business office has done it. So the summer months could be still charged to our current contract. Yes. Oh, and then please, if you're asking questions, if you could please say your name and what site you're from. And I believe that was Christine Otto, correct, Christine?
Yes, you're calling me out for the second time on that one. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
ESD.
Yes, thanks. Okay, any other questions? Okay, great. Okay, so next on our agenda item, someone asked last time if we could have on our agenda a period of time where LTCT sites can ask other LTCT sites questions and see how they tackle some of their issues or so forth. So I'm going to have an open session now for LTCT sites to ask others some of their questions that they may have and that they wanted to ask other LTCT sites. Okay, no one has, and I checked, so I guess there's no questions and so forth. So if there's questions, send it to me and then I can send to others. But yeah, yeah, someone requested to, if we could on our agenda item have, you know, an open question answer where one site could ask other sites how they do certain things and so forth. Next, okay, someone asked, what are folks scheming on for summer programming? Does anybody want to share what they normally do in their summer program?
Sam, this is Candace from the Child Center. We usually run a summer program where the teachers are there from usually the first part of July to about the second or third week in August. And they do individual polls and tutoring for that time. So it depends on the funding. And this year we were not going to do it due to things being, you know, a little less money in the purse this year. So I don't know, but if the ESSER funds flow through to us in some way, which I'm not sure how that would work because it goes through Springfield, we might be able to continue with the teachers in the classrooms for a period of time.
Thank you, Candace. Others that have summer programs, like what have you done in the past or what are you planning on doing? I know we have quite a bit of people here with a lot of experience and expertise and great ideas, and pretty much all of you run great programs. So does
Sam, this is Dan from Polk Adolescent Day Treatment in Dallas. We continue the program going through the summer. The teachers are usually start doing more of a shared work where they're doing half the education, it seems like, and then our educational assistants take on where the teachers can't be here. So we really just kind of keep the program going. We have a lot more in the past, not since COVID, but we would normally have a lot more community skill building where we take them out, they do things, and hikes or camping trips, going to the malls, doing different events with staff. So our summer looks very similar to the rest of the year, honestly.
Hey Sam, this is Carolyn from Kairos. We do something very similar to both. We run through the summer. We hire our teachers on if they want to work. Otherwise, we hire on-call skills coaches to fill the dailies, to fill up the staffing. And we typically don't run academics during the summer, but when it's not COVID, we do a work crew with the middle school. So they go out and have the opportunity to learn some work skills and earn some money.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Carolyn. And Chris in chat said they run a non-academic summer program with their community mental health program in Pendleton. Others?
This is Dee with Olala Center in Toledo. We do a non-academic program in the summer, very similar to what was talked about already. So yeah, very similar offering with non-academics in the summer.
This is Casey Clark from Eugene, and we, the students the kiddos have a couple weeks off in the beginning and a couple weeks off at the end of summer, but we run the same program through the summer that we run through the school year, with maybe a change about being part of Grassroots Garden or some community activity that's ongoing.
Thank you, Casey. And thank you, Dee from Olala, Wood County School District. Others? Okay, that was 10 seconds. And then in my teacher prep, one of my professors said, whenever you ask a question, wait about 7 to 10 seconds. If no one responds, then go on. So, okay, thank you, everybody. And then feel free, if there's are there any questions that people want to ask other LTCT sites around the state?
I guess I'll just kind of jump in. We all get quiet in these big groups, and I've been on the receiving end, Sam, so I get it. Hey, folks, we are in Central Oregon. We're going to be opening up a high school for the first time in this region, and super excited to do so. So extending the opportunity to high school students, and I'm wondering if if anybody has resources out there that they might be able and willing to share, I'd be very, very open arms with that. What I'm thinking is kind of just the intricacies of having students attend from multiple districts and kind of doing credit audits and making sure we're on track for graduation requirements, that type of thing. So if you have resources, send them my way, or I might be tapping one of you as friends to support in that effort. Thank you.
Amy, this is Kathy. We have, as you know, we run several high school programs, and one of the things that we did is we worked with our districts around having our students earn their Oregon diploma, because trying to chase different credit requirements for different schools was, in working with registrars and things like that, ended up being really complicated. So I just wanted to put that piece out there. That has helped us a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy.
And Amy, along Highway 97, Klamath and Hood River, they both have high school day treatment programs. So you might, they run pretty good programs too. You might want to connect with them too.
Yeah, this is Ann Carlos. Feel free to reach out to me personally, and I can hook you up with our high school program. We also, I highly recommend getting the GED waiver as well, so you can do a GED track and still keep kids enrolled.
Great. Ann, and where are you from? I'm sorry, I don't.
I'm sorry, Hood River. I forgot to say
Hood
that.
River. Okay,
Okay.
great, Ann. Thank you so much.
You know, Anne, you brought up a good question. I think I know a couple years ago I submitted an application for JDIP and YSIP for all of our programs to be automatically part of that waiver, but I don't know if I submitted one for LTCT. So, and then what that means is what the GED waiver is, generally if you have a student not going for a high school diploma, only going for a GED, you can't collect state school fund for that student. But if you have, like, if you're a GED options program, or if you're part of on that list, then students that are exclusively going for the GED still can be counted on the state school fund and get reimbursed, because state school fund are for students striving for an Oregon diploma, like modified or alternate. So that's why. So generally, GED or that's why sites need that waiver. So I thought I submitted one for all of LTCT. I don't think I did for LTCT. I know I did for JDIP and YSIP a long time ago. So I'll double check on that, and I might submit a blanket application for all of us. Yeah. And I have to apologize because people are both texting me and emailing me during this meeting, and also I have to be checking the chat. So someone texted me because unfortunately she joined in late. As of right now, no, there's no change. There's no changes to the application. I mean, the allocations that were sent out earlier. So the allocation I sent out on February 24th are still the same. And somebody just emailed me, and it's still we someone asked, you know, their school district got roughly LTCT like $2,452 for ESSER 1. We don't have the amounts for ESSER 2 yet, so we, as soon as that is known, we'll either schedule another meeting or we'll email out. Yeah. So, and then feel free to text me or email me, and if you want to ask questions instead of going through the chat. So I'm monitoring multiple communication streams apparently. Okay. So are there any other questions? Okay, without further ado, okay, so then for those of you that are new too, so at the conclusion of every meeting, I post, you know, the recordings and so forth. So I'll post our recordings here, and then if you ever miss the link, just Google and so forth. Yeah, so and yesterday's meeting was kind of hot, so we already have like 13 views from JDEP yesterday. So, and somebody asked in chat, like they already have the ESSER 1 funds already received. How they have 3 sites. How do they divide it up? And like for instance, like PPS has 8 sites. You know, so with the ESSER funds for the ESSER 1 funds, please, it's up. It's my understanding, it's up to your school district or USD how you want to divide up the ESSER funds by your sites. But if you want, I know for the ESSER funds, the way it was allocated was by ADM. So if you want, if you don't have your ADM for your sites in your school district, I could send you your ADM, and then if you wanted to, you could say like site 1 had 30%, site 2 had 40, you know, and so forth. That's one way that you could do it, because that's how the ESSER funds were allocated based on ADM. Okay, so okay, yeah, I'll email me, and then I'll remember, that way I'll remember to send you your ADM numbers for, you know, how for ESSER. And then I believe it was ADM that was used was from last year, the final ADM from last year, not this year. Yeah, because it was calculated last year. for ESSER 1. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, great. So the monitoring tool, remember, like, I know some of you, we normally go out and do our monitoring every 3 years or every 2 years. Obviously this year we're not going to go out. So we talked about in the past the monitoring tool. So I will email out the monitoring tool, and basically it's on an honor system. Please complete it and send it in. And I guess I'll just make the due date like with like in June with your final invoice. And again, in yellow, those are the things that were updated. And then part of it was updated because USDOE's monitoring tool was updated too. So those were that's why we did the annotation. So here's like the requirement, citation, federal or Oregon. And this column, acceptable evidence, like it's up to you how you want to put it. So I would like blank out and then put in what you want to put in and be yes or no. And then if there is something that you're working on, please state that. And then feel free to add your findings and comments. I'm not asking for everyone to submit their binder, but it's just please hold on to your binders and leave it at your site. So if we do come out to visit, then you know, you have the binder ready available. And the binder is like where you put your acceptable evidence in one single location. Are there any questions on this?
Hey, Sam, this is Carolyn from Kairos. I do have a question. So we did our binder several years ago. Is that something that we should be updating annually with new evidence?
Yes, most definitely. Yes.
Okay.
Like the binder that you guys, you know, created a couple years ago, you know, as, you know, like your, and then this is, and then, so this is a thing too. This is a true story. When a couple years ago, when USDOE came to monitor us, and because they, and then they also wanted to monitor school districts, but they gave us a list of school districts and schools that they want to go visit. But they also said that there were going to be some schools that were going to be kind of like spot. And what they meant by spot was they're going to just hop in the car with OD people and then drive along and, oh, and then whatever school they see, oh, let's go to visit that school to see how, you know, look for their evidence and so forth. So after that, it was like, ooh, shoots. Yeah. But in all honesty, USDOE had, as far as I know, has not come to monitor Title 1D since 2011. They came in 2008 and 2011, but then they haven't come to monitor Title 1D for a while. But a couple of years ago, they did send a consultant to review Subpart 2 and Subpart 1. And I believe they visited Salem Kaiser, Ben Lapine, and I took them to visit Three Lakes and Children's Farm Home. And I don't think we went to Paddock. We might have. So yeah. So I did when USDOE sent out consultants to do monitoring. So yep. So this is the tool, and then of course I'll send this out with the PowerPoint and the link. Yeah. And this was sent out earlier before I asked for comments, and so this is kind of a revision to, so this kind of to what we normally do. Are there any questions about the monitoring tool? Yeah. And Carolyn, yes, this year, of course, obviously this year we're not going to go out and monitor, but those are one of the things that we try to do. And then that's also something DOJ wants us to do, at least go to every single site once every contract period to ensure the programs that we are paying for is compliant. Yep.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah. But we won't be going out this year. Yep. And legislature related. So here, this is just as an FYI. So for our programs, when you go to Joint Committee on Education, we had our Ways and Means presentation on, it was posted on March 1st. And I wouldn't print it out just because it's 113 pages. You know, it talks about regional programs, you know, hospital, and here's YSEP. I skipped over LTCT, and most of the information that I received, that I post, that are shared with the Ways and Means, is from the Title 1D CSPR. So, you know, the CSPR data that you submit every December and November, you know, I tabulate everyone's data, and I insert it in, and then this is inserted into our presentation. Yep. Next, and these are some of the bills that we're tracking within our unit. This one talks about making a recommendation for YSEP JDEP, and and if we have to make recommendations, September 1 deadline, which is kind of quick. So if this bill passes during the summer, we'd have to make a recommendation for YSEP JDEP funding. Another one we're watching is for an education program for this is for a program in Forest Grove. And another one we're watching is similar to the YSEP JDEP recommendation for funding. Oh, this is a Forest Grove program, sorry. This is another bill for the Task Force on Education Pathways. And this includes basically JDEP, YSEP, and then I asked them to include LTCT because we're also part of the task, you know, we're on education, there's LTCT sites are another way, you know, pathway towards graduation. So they wanted to create a pathways case study and so forth. So those are the programs, the legislature bills that we're tracking. Okay. Any questions? Okay, no. Okay, next. As we do every biennia, I'm getting ready for the letters to send out to the school districts. Because as a reminder, the school districts where the facility, the LTCT programs are located, they determine who are the education providers. So every biennia, we send out this letter asking the superintendent, and then if they want to be the provider or if they want the current ESD or so forth, and I list down, you know, their sites within their area, and then pretty much, you know, like for LeGrand, you know, LeGrand School District is it, you know, so and so forth. So, and then I normally CC the Director of Student Services or the SPED Director and so forth. So these letters, I'm preparing the letters, probably will go out sometime in March or April. Yep, I just want to give everybody a heads up on that because we do need to know who would be the educational providers for the programs. Okay, any questions on that? No? Okay, so that's pretty much everything on mine. Oh, and Sarah said in the chat, she'll also be sharing similar information about our programs for Ways and Means, either Monday or Wednesday. Yep. Thank you, Sarah. Yes. And yep. Yes, Sarah is a very strong advocate for programs. She really feels the plight for our kids.
I do.
And our next meeting.
Thank you, Sam.
Mhm. And our next meeting is 9 a.m. Friday, May 14th. But then if we have more news on the ESSER funds, we may schedule an impromptu meeting. Yeah. Okay, so good question. Any idea when additional mask info will be coming from ODE? Sorry, you would have to email the ODE COVID-19 email address. Because we've been directed, like whenever we have to direct people, if they have COVID related questions, to that email address. So please send that, if you have questions, send that out, yes.
There's supposed to be new guidance out on the 19th with the Safe Schools, can't remember what it's called, but That's what we were told.
Yep. Yep. And then for all transparency too, sometimes when an email goes to the OD COVID-19 inbox, they send it to me to ask me to draft something. So yeah, so but I have to follow procedures. Please email all COVID questions to that email box. Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
Sam, I'm just going to jump in and add that we have resolve and route meetings twice a week and another strategizing meeting once a week to look at the guidance. And so, yes, there will be more guidance coming, particularly we hope around face coverings, because that's been a latest hot topic.
Thank you, Sarah. Yep. And I'm monitoring my email too. Someone asked, apparently not everyone received their 21-22 LTCT allocation. So I'll send that to the individual. Okay. And if there's others that didn't receive that email, the email, hopefully I still have this email up. No, here it is. If you haven't received this email, with the allocations, let me know, and then I will forward it to you. And I normally always, BCC everybody so that, it doesn't get all, reply all and stuff like that. Okay. So if you didn't get this email, email me, and then I'll send it to you. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. And I know this is going to happen. This happens every time, and I've said this before. As soon as I end the meeting, people email me or text me or call me. Oh, I forgot to ask this, or can you, and so forth, which is fine. Yeah. But then, yeah. So feel free. Oh, someone put something in chat. Yep. Yep. Most definitely. We're all here to support each other for our kids, because our kids are really, they really need it. And then I know, okay, so within our unit, we have hospitals, pediatric nursing, DOC, JDEP, YSIP, LTCT. But then within our unit, we do not have the shelter program. But sometimes we are connected, like I'm connected to our shelter programs with our counties. And unfortunately, and then a couple of counties said their shelter programs have exploded. And then the shelter programs generally are for the runaways. And then when I heard that during COVID-19, the shelter programs it just ballooned up. So that's unfortunate. So, yeah, so we need to support our students and everything. So that's a sidebar. And yep, and as a reminder, shelter programs are not with us. It's with the school districts. Yep. So if that's not anything, so if you have any other questions or comments, always email me. And call me on my cell phone, please. Don't call me on my office phone. Call me on my cell phone. And if I can't answer, I won't. I'll just send text, but I'll try to respond. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. And you have about 15 more minutes back. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sam. And thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.